right, so this is the feature category, and before we get into the features, I want to first explain how I'm going to be looking at features. A lot of people have their outlook on what a feature is. It's about emotion, it's about intimacy. Yes, it is about all of those things. But when I'm looking at the feature photos, I'm actually going to be thinking of a single word to help me out, and that word is empathy. And so what do I mean by empathy when I look at these photos? Well, what I mean is when I'm looking at them, I want to be able to see it how they see it, feel it how they feel it. So when I'm looking at a photo, I'm seeing the situation. Can I empathize with it? Now, that I want to really hammer down on a point that does not mean I agree with the situation. It can be a very controversial subject. However, I need to be able to empathize with that feature in order for it to be effective, right? And so when I'm looking at photos, features aren't just about the emotion. So if somebody's simply laughing, that doesn't mean anything to me, right? I need to understand the situation. I need to be able to see myself in that moment, right? So as I go through the images, that's going to be my baseline. I'm going to look at it and I'm going to think, do I empathize? Can I feel what that person is going through? Can I feel what that photographer is going through, right? All of that matters when you're looking at feature photos. All right, so now we're going to get right into the photos. First off, we got this image. Somebody laughing, and truly they're in a moment, and you know it's a good moment. I'm not really sure what the background has to do with it, and so this is going to be an image that I return to the caption later on to determine if it rises to the top. Cool photo is just not a feature. Do I see it how they see it? Do I feel it how they feel it? This is an environmental portrait. Solid image. What a cool image, but this is a pictorial, right? And props to the photographer for taking this. I really appreciate it, and it's just a really wicked image. It's just in the wrong category. Cool image. I'm starting to get a sense and feel how they feel it. Without a lack of body language, strong body language, that is. Sure, he's sitting there, but I wish there was something more, or even looking back, or something to give me more of this emotion attached to the individual and that subject. However, the environment certainly evokes some emotion and this feeling of feeling it how they feel it, seeing it how they see it. Right. Incredible. Not getting much. This is just a pinning on ceremony, right? Same. It's hard. No. It's always important too, while you're taking these images, just really understand your background and really understand why am I even taking this photo? So for the images that we're looking at now, I'm struggling to really have any emotion evoked out of me. This one, you've got those homecoming images, and they're always great, right? But we see a lot of them. So what out of the homecoming images that you take is going to make yours rise to the top? And I'm sure I'll see some good homecoming images that we can compare with. But just keep that in mind. As military photographers, we're often seeing the same things. We're also taking images of the same things. So how are you going to tell that story differently? This is a pictorial. You got yourself a leading line leading to your subject. Good image. Good image. This is getting closer to what I'm looking for with a feature. See it how they see it, feel it how they feel it. These individuals are obviously really exhausted. It might be a good piece to a photo story. Hardware is likely not going to make it in the feature category. I know there are some individuals there, but the subject really is the C-130. That's a supporting photo to an overall story, not a feature. Pictorial. A little bit closer to a feature, but still misses the mark. Pictorial. Way cool image. I'm getting to, have a sense and a feel of the environment, but it's not strong enough to be a solid feature. Good image as just its standalone, so good job to the photographer for taking a picture at this vantage point. This is a little bit more of a feature, and you notice the subtle hand gesture of the little boy, right? Those body movements and that nonverbal communication is really what sells a lot of these features. Pictorial. This is a nice supporting detail that does teeter on the verge of a feature. It evokes a little bit of an emotion out of me without seeing the individual's face. It's hard. Of course, it's difficult to get the individual's face and this cute little bird, but it's definitely an interesting, peculiar little moment. And so, yeah, good job. All right. This to me is certainly a feature. This is a moment between a crew member and the C-130, and it's a tradition that really people have for good luck before they go out and conquer their missions. And this is very well done, very well composed, and it's great seeing actually this moment between one of the crew members and their aircraft that they so dependently rely on. It's a good job. This is a nice homecoming photo. Got a lot of things that works for it. You controlled the background as best as you can. It's pure. Okay, somebody crying, somebody laughing, somebody hugging. This is where that context really would carry this image. Without knowing the context, of course, that's where the caption comes later. It's hard to say if this is going to be a strong feature. Somebody smiling. Somebody looks like they're smiling. This is a really good supporting image for an overall story, not a feature. If this guy was wiping the brows of his face of sweat, and his hands were all gritty and his face was all gritty, and you can just really feel and sense that, he's had a really, really hard, long day, that would be a solid feature. This is a portrait. This is a good feature, very, very good feature. When I see this, I see it how they see it, I feel it how they feel it, and what I see and feel here is camaraderie. So great job to the photographer who took this. This is a feature. It's got some distracting elements to it. Not the best lighting. However, for your base paper and for the job that you're trying to do for your shop, it's going to get the job done. I've seen some really good Finney flight photos, so just check them out. They have the potential to be a good feature. A lot of these, they're just simply not features. They're not telling me anything. Perhaps this image was chosen because of the different layers to it. And if that's the case, then it's a pictorial. So I really encourage people to go out there and find their definition of what a feature is and start putting your images in the proper categories. That way you have a better chance within these competitions. Good moment. Cool. Day in the life type of photo. I like this. It's a little bit better of a Finney flight photo. It's getting there. This photo, I definitely want to see the caption on. It could be potentially a pretty strong feature. With this environment, I just, you see that great interaction between what I'm assuming are the two, sisters, and there seems to be something going on contextually that really lends this photo to potentially being a solid feature. So I can't wait to see the caption on that. This is close, another sort of day in the life image. Another hardware shot that it doesn't quite make it as a feature. In fact, not at all. It's more of a pictorial. I like dogs. In fact, I love dogs, but it clearly based off of my background here. But it's got to be a really, really good dog photo for me to vote it in. Same with children. So children and dogs, you always hear that. Those are easy photos that people identify with pretty easily. But does that make it a really solid, good photo? Not necessarily. Okay. This has some potential. Say if you're within that smoke and you're kind of at that vantage point of this individual, I know it's difficult because of safety, but there is the potential of seeing it how they see it, feel it how they feel it, even when you're talking about these procedural photos. Overall, this is a great photo. Good job. Interesting. This is a really good feature to me, and let me tell you why. Because everything about this image, contextually, it shows, and not just the environment, it shows the day-to-day life of this individual. You've got a MV-22 in the background that's doing their military operations, and this guy's just playing soccer. Right? You can look at the buildings, see them a little bit torn down, and this is their day-to-day life. And I evoke something from it, and I feel like I'm there, and it's an environment that I've never seen before. So being able to see a photo where I can put myself in that situation means that it's a very successful feature. So good job to this photographer. Another pictorial. A lot of these are pictorials. It seems like this category sometimes becomes the catch-all for people. I'd encourage against it. Good feature photo. Great. The mom's exhausted and the baby is mad to be in this world, right? And great. I mean, good job just getting that overall photo. Solid job. This is going to be a photo that's phenomenal for a photo story. I really hope I see it in the future. This itself is leaning on the edge of a feature. However, I'm sure there are some other images that are buried within the story that I'm going to see that I would be like, yep, that's a feature. That's it. Or at least I hope I end up seeing the rest of the story to this. More hugging, more kissing, but what really shows, something else. And like this, I like this moment as a very good family moment that's beyond just the smiling, the kissing, the hugging. Cute. This one could honestly be great. It's just you still have to think about the graphic elements to it, right? If this was taken more dead on, and the background was controlled a bit, and you can, but you still got that element of, they're at a cemetery together. This could have been a really potentially great feature. There are just too many distracting elements within the rest of the photo. Portrait. A lot of portraits thrown into feature, but doesn't really have me feel it how they feel it, see how they feel it. They're just posing, right? And features are all about authenticity, honestly. Are all about authenticity. Good image, very good image. I like how you've framed this. I like how you've got the feet at the edge over here, and you've got the head over here, right? So just the way you've balanced this photo out was very well done. Also a great feature. What a cool photo. Props to the photographer who took this. Pictorial. This is a cool image, but it's not a feature. It is a cool image, but this is a graphically appealing feature that I think would do well in the pictorial category. Pictorial, well shot. The pictorial, duplicate. So this is amazing for many reasons. One, it looks like contextually it's a little bit of a news photo too. But this is definitely a solid feature in what it represents. You get two generations meshing together, and this younger generation wanting to take a selfie with an American hero. So this is a special moment. Good job to the photographer here. Emotion crying, but context, I need that context. I definitely feel for the guy. The situation obviously sucks. I think it could be composed just a tad bit better, especially if you just wait one more moment, either prior to this or afterwards. It's just not quite there. This is a great image. Looks like this is this kid's home, right? This is where he lives, and he's either taking a bath or playing. I'm not sure, but this is the reality for this child. So for me, this is a really, really powerful photo, and it just means a lot because I've never experienced what this kid is going through, but thanks to the photographer taking this picture, I'm able to at least try to imagine how it would be and understand it, how this child understands it. So great job to the photographer on this. It's hands down one of my favorites. I love dogs, clearly, but this one's a no. No. It looks like that is the end of the features. So now what we're going to do is back on out of here. We are going to look at my favorites. So these are the images out of all of the features that I thought were impactful in some way. Some of these are just impactful in the sense of they're a great image. A couple of them, and I'll point out to you what those images are not actually features, but they're great images. So it pains me to say that some of these images could have really advanced if they were put in the proper category. So, start out. These were all of my top images. And so if you're a photographer looking at these images right now, you can consider yourself, one of those photographers whose images kind of rose to the top, right? Now, when it gets down to the first place, second place, and third place, that's where it gets a little bit subjective, as well as the honorable mentions. And so put the weight in the fact that you're surrounded by your photojournalist peers when it comes to superior imagery. So good job. All of these images really had some sort of impact on me. All right, so now we're looking at the top images out of that batch, and I'll explain my rationale as to why they received the accolades they did for me. This first one received third place, and that is just because it's not only newsworthy, this is a good moment if you look at the caption as far as context. This is an Army World War II veteran posing for a selfie with French school kids. And so not only is it just interesting as far as context and newsworthiness, it's also interesting based off of two separate cultures coming together for a single image and two separate generations on opposite spectrums. And it seems like there's just genuinity in wanting to take this selfie with this American hero. So for that, it received a third place. This is another great image that I chose to recognize as an honorable mention. This is one of those traditions that people have to give themselves good luck before they go off on a mission. And it's just a very intimate moment between a man and his machine, if you will. I thought it was very well done, very well composed, so great job to the photographer on that. Great access, great moment. I definitely feel for the mother giving birth right now, exhausted, right? So I see it how she sees it. I feel it how she's feeling it. Actually, hopefully, I don't ever have to, but that's what this picture does. It shows the reality of pregnancy. So another good image for that. You received a second place. This image is fun. I think it's composed well. The lighting is a little bit difficult, but it's just a very unique image in the fact that it shows this oddity of a situation. And I thought it deserved a recognition as an honorable mention. And the first place photo is this one here. And the reason why it has a first place photo is not because it's a great moment and shot well, but also because of the caption. It carries a lot of weight as far as the context in this photo. It says, "A child cools off in a drum of water outside of his family's home in West Mosul. Ongoing improvements to infrastructure, including fresh, clean drinking water, allow residents to return to a sense of normalcy in the city." Normalcy. That's not what I see in this image, and what I see in this image is something that I've never had to go through. But because this photographer took this image, I'm able to attempt to see it how this child sees it, feel it how this child feels it. That's what this photo does for me. I could not imagine having to take a bath or to cool off in this environment. So great job to the photographer for taking a moment to show this little slice of life in this child's reality. For that reason, it received first place. Good job.